Mr. President, which countries do you want to spend more on NATO in particular?
Just look at the chart. Take a look at the chart. It's public, and many countries are not paying what they should. And frankly, many countries owe us a tremendous amount of money for many years back, where they're delinquent, as far as I'm concerned, because the United States has had to pay for them. So if you go back 10 or 20 years, you just add it all up. It's massive amounts of money is owed. The United States has paid and stepped up like nobody. This has gone on for decades, by the way. This has gone on for many presidents, but no other president brought it up like I bring it up. So something has to be done, and the Secretary General has been working on it very hard. This year, since our last meeting, commitments have been made for over $40 billion more money spent by other countries. So that's a step, but it's a very small step. It sounds like a lot of money, and it is. But it's a very small amount of money relative to what they owe and to what they should be paying. And it's an unfair burden on the United States. So we're here to talk about that, and I'm sure it will be resolved. I have great confidence in the Secretary General. He's worked very, very hard on this, and he knows it's a fact. But I have great confidence in him and his representatives. Would you like to say something?
First of all, it's great to see you again, Mr. President, and good to have you here for the summit. And we are going to discuss many important issues at the summit. Among them is defense spending. And we all agree that we have to do more. I agree with you that we have to make sure that allies are investing more. The good news is that allies have started to invest more in defense. After years of cutting defense budgets, they have started to add billions to their defense budgets. And last year was the biggest increase in defense spending across Europe and Canada in a generation.
Why was that last year?
It's also because of your leadership, because your clear message. And
They won't write that, but
no, I have said it before. But the thing is that it really has. Your message is having an impact, and we are going to build on that to make sure that we have further increases. You initiated last year that all allies are going to develop national plans on how to spend more on defense. And based on these national plans, we now estimate that the European allies and Canada will add 266 extra US dollars for defense from now until billion US dollars until 2024. So this is really adding some extra money. It helps, and we are moving in the right direction, but we still have to do more, and that is what we're going to address at the summit later on today. Let me also add that strong NATO is good for Europe, but it's also good for the United States. The US military presence in Europe helps to protect Europe, but it also helps the United States project power to the Middle East, to Africa, and I think also that the military cloud of Europe, the economic cloud, the political cloud, also is helpful dealing with Russia. And we look forward to the meeting we're going to have with President Putin, and I think that leaders are also looking forward to your thoughts about the meeting with President Putin later on.
Well, I have to say, I think it's very sad when Germany makes a massive oil and gas deal with Russia, where you're supposed to be guarding against Russia, and Germany goes out and pays billions and billions of dollars a year to Russia. So we're protecting Germany, we're protecting France, we're protecting all of these countries. And then numerous of the countries go out and make a pipeline deal with Russia, where they're paying billions of dollars into the coffers of Russia. So we're supposed to protect you against Russia, but they're paying billions of dollars to Russia, and I think that's very inappropriate. And the former chancellor of Germany is the head of the pipeline company that's supplying the gas. Ultimately, Germany will have almost 70% of their country controlled by Russia with natural gas. So you tell me, is that appropriate? I mean, I've been complaining about this from the time I got in. It should have never been allowed to have happened. But Germany is totally controlled by Russia, because they were getting from 60 to 70% of their energy from Russia and a new pipeline. And you tell me if that's appropriate, because I think it's not. And I think it's a very bad thing for NATO, and I don't think it should have happened. And I think we have to talk to Germany about it. On top of that, Germany is just paying a little bit over 1%, whereas the United States, in actual numbers, is paying 4.2% of a much larger GDP. So I think that's inappropriate also. You know, we're protecting Germany, we're protecting France, we're protecting everybody, and yet we're paying a lot of money to protect. Now, this has been going on for decades. This has been brought up by other presidents, but other presidents never did anything about it because I don't think they understood it or they just didn't want to get involved. But I have to bring it up because I think it's very unfair to our country, it's very unfair to our taxpayer. And I think that these countries have to step it up, not over a 10-year period, they have to step it up immediately. Germany is a rich country. They talk about they're going to increase it a tiny bit by 2030. Well, they could increase it immediately tomorrow and have no problem. I don't think it's fair to the United States. So we're going to have to do something because we're not going to put up with it. We can't put up with it, and it's inappropriate. So we have to talk about the billions and billions of dollars that's being paid to the country that we're supposed to be protecting you against. You know, everybody's talking about it all over the world. They'll say, well, wait a minute, we're supposed to be protecting you from Russia, but why are you paying billions of dollars to Russia for energy? Why are countries in NATO, namely Germany, having a large percentage of the energy needs paid, you know, to Russia and taken care of by Russia? Now, if you look at it, Germany is a captive of Russia because they supply. They got rid of their coal plants. They got rid of their nuclear. They're getting so much of the oil and gas from Russia. I think it's something that NATO has to look at. I think it's very inappropriate. You and I agree that it's inappropriate. I don't know what you can do about it now, but it certainly doesn't seem to make sense that they pay billions of dollars to Russia, and now we have to defend them against Russia.
You know, NATO is an alliance of 29 nations, and there are sometimes differences and different views and also some disagreements. And the gas pipeline from Russia to Germany is one issue where allies disagree. But the strength of NATO is that despite these differences, we have always been able to unite around our core task to protect and defend each other because we understand that we are stronger together than apart. I think that 2 world wars and the Cold War taught us that we are stronger together than apart.
But how can you be together when a country is getting its energy from the person you want protection against or from the group that you want protection?
Because we understand that when we stand together also when dealing with Russia, we are stronger. I think what we have seen is that...
No, you're just making Russia richer. Well, you're not dealing with Russia, you're making Russia richer.
So I think that even during the Cold War, NATO allies were trading with Russia. Then there have been disagreements about what kind of trade arrangements we should go into.
I think trade is wonderful. I think energy is a whole different story. I think energy is a much different story than normal trade. And you have a country like Poland that won't accept the gas. You take a look at some of the countries, they won't accept it because they don't want to be captive to Russia. But Germany, as far as I'm concerned, is captive to Russia because it's getting so much of its energy from Russia. So we're supposed to protect Germany, but they're getting their energy from Russia. Explain that. And it can't be explained, you know that. We have to talk about the billions and billions of dollars that's being paid to the country that we're supposed to be protecting you against. I think it's something that NATO has to look at. I think it's very inappropriate. It doesn't seem to make sense that they pay billions of dollars to Russia, and now we have to defend them against Russia.
And they put the natural gas hub and the oil hub right in Germany. Earlier at the NATO summit, President Trump calling out European countries purchasing energy from Russia, specifically Germany, while benefiting from U.S. protection. Niall Gardner is the director of the Margaret Thatcher Center for Freedom at the Heritage Foundation, joins us now from London. Does the president have a point? And we're surprised he brought it up over what seems to be breakfast.
I think the president certainly has a very strong point in his remarks about Germany. He directly attacked the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, which is a pipeline which will run from Russia to Germany, bypassing US allies in Eastern Europe and the Baltic states. And so the president was absolutely right, actually, to condemn the pipeline. This is a Russian project. The Germans are fully collaborating with us for business purposes. This undermines, actually, the pipeline undermines the security of the NATO alliance. And so the president was 100% right to criticise this pipeline and also to call on the Germans to increase their pitifully low defence spending, actually, which stands at just 1.2% of GDP. Compare that to the United States, 3.5% of GDP on defence. The Germans are not pulling their weight in Europe. The NATO alliance is fundamentally important to the United States and to the transatlantic alliance, but we need to see all members of the NATO alliance pulling their weight, investing more in defence, especially the Germans, the so-called economic power of Europe.
They did get a quick reaction force together, land, air, and sea, that's going to be able to react within 30 days. They did start bulking up cybersecurity, both things what the president wanted done, and they have increased defense spending, even though they to about $150 billion combined, even though they haven't hit all the thresholds. Are they on the right track? Would the president benefit for emphasizing some of the positive, or continue the way he's been doing it so far?
Well, the Germans certainly have announced some limited increases in defence spending, but they're way, way below the level, for example, of Great Britain, which spends 2% of GDP on defence. And so I do think that the president is right to really call out countries like Germany on the defence spending issue. And at the end of the day as well, I mean, the Germans are operating an appeasement policy towards Russia with the Nord Stream 2 pipeline. And so this tough message from the president directly to the Germans, I think, will be effective. There will be many US allies in Europe who will fully support, actually, the US position on this. So the president is not isolated in Europe. Far from it.
Poland
many US allies will support him.
And now, real quick, Poland and Turkey just said, yeah, we got a problem with Germany as well. Real quick, you said that the alliance is obsolete, so you think it should be expunged?
No, I mean, the NATO alliance is not obsolete. The NATO alliance is fundamentally important to US strategic interests. It's vital to the defense of the free world. But we need to see all NATO members investing more in the NATO alliance, investing more in defense, investing more in the future of the transatlantic alliance. But NATO is far from obsolete. It is a vital alliance for the United States. But we need to see all members working with the United States to strengthen the alliance.
All right, so far a rocky start, but a very direct, candid start. A lot of this stuff's usually done behind closed doors. With this president, he lets it all hang out. Now, it's very interesting. Now, Gardner, thanks so much.
My pleasure, Ryan. Thank you.
Ich möchte aus gegebenem Anlass hinzufügen, dass ich erlebt habe, auch selber, dass ein Teil Deutschlands von der Sowjetunion kontrolliert wurde. Und ich bin sehr froh, dass wir heute in Freiheit vereint sind als die Bundesrepublik Deutschland und dass wir deshalb auch sagen können, dass wir unsere eigenständige Politik machen können und eigenständige Entscheidungen fällen können. Und das ist sehr gut, gerade für die Menschen in den neuen Bundesländern.